Hello friends, it's Drew the College-ologist, and today is going to be a really big day because we're going to do a walkthrough of the actual Fafsa application. Alright, so step one, of course, is to go to fafsa.gov and let that pull up. Alright, so this is the Fafsa homepage. Make sure you're at fafsa.gov, not .com or anything like that. This is going to be .gov because it's a government website. You're going to click Login. And right here, you're going to choose I am the student. And then as the student, the first step is to make your login account to get into your actual Fafsa application. So you're going to make an FSA ID. So you're going to click create one. And you're going to make yourself an FSA ID account. So you're going to click get started. There's a series of steps. You make an account, you make a username, password, all that kind of stuff. And please be noted that a parent will need to make one of these as well to sign off on the Fafsa later. So both a student and a parent will need to make an FSA ID. This is just your Fafsa login to get into the Fafsa. All right, but when you get your FSA ID completed, you can go back and log on as yourself as a student into the Fafsa. And then log in. Log into the Fafsa. This is what it looks like. You're going to click accept. And then here's the Fafsa. So you need to make sure that you're going to do your 21-22 Fafsa. That's going to be the upcoming fall semester. This is the one that you need to get done. Save key. This is something that's going to save your progress. You can use a password. You can use 1, 2, 3, 4. You can use whatever you want as long as you remember it. All right, then when you get right here, this is just question and answer stuff right here. You can go ahead and click next, and we're going to be in the actual Fafsa. So just make sure all this stuff is filled out. These initial questions will be pretty simple. It's all just going to be your information. Email address, and then your phone number. And then you can click next after filling out that personal information. And then of course it comes to your address, and then click next. And then it's going to ask you if you've lived in Tennessee for at least 5 years. If that's yes, then you'll put yes. If no, then you'll need to indicate if you live in Tennessee and when did you become a Tennessee resident. But for most of you, you'll put yes, you've lived in Tennessee for the past 5 years. Are you a U.S. citizen? Yes, you are a U.S. citizen. All right, then it gets to student information. So it's going to ask, what will your high school completion status be next year? You're going to have a high school diploma. After you graduate, starting next year, you'll have a high school diploma. Then it's going to ask you what college degree or certificate will you be working on next year. And so if you're going to a college or university, you'll put a bachelor's degree. If you're going to a community college, you'll put associate's degree. And if you're going to TCAT, you'll put a certificate or diploma. So we're just going to put bachelor's degree. What will your college grade level be when you begin the 21-22 school year? You're going to be a never attended college / first year because this is going to be your first year as a college student. Are you interested in being considered for work study? Please put yes, just in case. Work study is you can get selected for this program. You don't have to do it if you put yes, but you can get selected and you can work on campus for a certain number of hours a week and you get paid a scholarship money for it. So go ahead and put yes on this. Of course, the normal questions. If you're a male, you're going to have to answer if you're registered for the selective service. That's the draft. If you're not 18 yet or if you're not registered, you can put no. And on the next side, it'll say, do you want us, the Fafsa, to register you for the selective service? Put yes, because that's the easiest way to do it. And Fafsa will automatically register you whenever you submit it, because all 18-year-old males will have to do this. Then you'll put your driver's license number in if you have one. If not, that's totally fine. You can go ahead and click next. Are you or were you a foster youth at any time in the foster care system? If yes, you'll put yes. If no, you'll put no. Then it's going to ask you the highest school completed by parent 1 and parent 2. And so if you don't know for sure, you can guess or click other unknown. This question doesn't matter that much, but if you do know, you can go ahead and pick whatever the correct answer is. All right, and then we get to high school information. So you're going to enter the name, city, and state of your high school. Then go ahead and click confirm right here, this little button that says confirm, just to make sure that everything's spelled right and they have it exactly the way Fafsa wants it. So you'll just select the correct option. So we'll select this one. So this is our high school. We're going to click next. And then this is where we list what colleges that we want to have access to our Fafsa. So in order to give you scholarship money and financial aid and stuff, a college needs your Fafsa information. So please list all the colleges that you have any interest in. So any college that you might have interest in, we're just going to head and put Northeast State for the demo. So on this, you'll put the state, and then what you can do is you can just put the city that it's in, or you can put the name of the school, and then click search. And then you're going to click the little box of the school choice, and then click next. You can click add more schools if you want to add. So if you want to add ETSU or Milligan or whatever, you can add up to 10 schools. You don't have to do, you can do 1, you can do 10. It's totally up to you. Whatever you're interested in, whatever schools you're considering, add them to the FAFSA, and then go ahead and when you're done listing schools, the whole list will be right here, and then it will indicate where you're going to live. So if you're going to live at home, off campus in an apartment somewhere, or with a parent, whichever one of these, just choose whatever is most applicable. And you can guess if you don't know right now. All right, this is still asking for the student. Student, what is your marital status as of today? That'll most likely be single, not married. And then these 2 questions are asking if the student has children or if the student has dependents. And we'll just go ahead and put no for this. And then these are dependency questions. So see if any of these apply to you as a student, active duty, veteran, anytime since age 13, were both parents deceased, were you in foster care, or were you a dependent or ward of the court, emancipated minor. This one, does someone other than a parent or step-parent have legal guardianship of you? Not just custody, but does someone other than a parent or step-parent have legal guardianship of you, or none of the above? And we're just going to choose none of the above for this. But if any of those are true for you, please click them. And then this is asking, are you homeless or in self-supporting or at risk of being homeless? You can put yes if yes, but if no, put no. And depending on your answers here, you might get a couple different prompts popping up. If you ever have any questions, just check that all the questions have this little question box right here, and it's super helpful. It basically answers everything that you need right here. So it answers all the questions that you can have. And so the questions on your actual FAFSA might be a little bit different than this demo, depending on what a couple of your answers are. Sometimes you get different questions based off of what your answers to some of these questions are. All right, and then so the FAFSA has determined that this student is a dependent student. That means they must provide information about parents. And so I'm going to say I will provide information about my parents, and I'm going to click next. All right, and so as of today, what is the marital status of your parents? And now your parent, the student's parent is whatever parent or parent set they live with. So if they live with mom and dad, biological mom and dad, then that's their parents on the FAFSA. If they live with just dad, then just dad is the parent on the FAFSA, and you only have to include one. If mom and stepdad, if you live with them and they're remarried, so mom is remarried to stepdad, then they're your parents on the FAFSA, and you don't have to provide anything about your biological dad. And so your parent set is whoever you live with. If you live with one set of parents more than the other, you choose whichever set. If custody is split up, you choose whichever set of parents you live with most often. And if it's right down the middle, if it's 50-50 custody, you get to choose whichever parent makes the less amount of money because their chances of getting Pell Grant increase. So just for this, we're going to say our parents are married. When did your parents get married? Just month and year. So we're just going to say January of 1999. And then here, this is all parent demographic questions. And so the parent one, you get to choose who parent 1 is or who parent 2 is. You'll have to put in their social security number. All right, so if you have parent 1 filled out, you might only have one parent, but if you have 2 parents, you'll need to do both parent 1 and parent 2. And this is parent 2. And then next, your parents lived in Tennessee for at least 5 years. You'll know the answer to that. And then this is your household builder. So pay attention here. In your household, in the student's household, for example, we have mom and dad, and then me, the student. And if you have any other siblings that live at home and are dependents of the parent, you can put the number here. So if I have two brothers that live with me, I'll put 2. If it's 0, you just leave it blank. And then the number of people in your household should match this right here. So you'll put siblings in here. If your parents have a dependent that isn't biologically related, you can add that right here. But we'll just say there's 4 people in the household, and this is asking not including the parents, so only children. How many people in the parents' household will be college students next year? We're just going ahead and put 1. If you have siblings that are in college, you might put 2 or 3, but for this instance, we'll put 1. And then here is when we get to parent financials. So this is asking for 2019, this is 2019, have your parents completed their IRS tax return or another tax return? So we're just going to say the parent has already completed their 2019 taxes. What type of tax return? The parent will know what the answer is here. Most people will file an IRS 1040. And then for 2019, what is your parents' tax filing status? You may have single, head of household, married filed joint, married filed separate. Choose whichever one is on your tax transcript or your 1040. I'm just going to put married filed joint right here. And then right here, this is a very nifty tool. If you click link to IRS, the IRS can automatically pull all the parent tax information just straight online, a straight data transfer. The parent will need to set up their FSA ID, like the student has one. The parent will need an FSA ID for this and log in, and then they'll put in it'll take you to the IRS page. You'll put in your address and you'll click retrieve or transfer your taxes, and it will pull all your tax information straight from the IRS. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes there's a glitch, and for whatever reason it doesn't work. So some of you might have to hand type in your taxes. It just depends. I would try this if I could, if you can get it to work, because it's a really simple way to do it. But we're just going to go ahead and do it without. And then again, this is asking to please do the IRS draft because it's called a data retrieval tool, just because it's a lot easier. But we're just going to click no thanks because I don't have any access to doing that at the moment. And so these are the tax questions. It's going to ask what's your parents' adjusted gross income, and it tells you exactly what line on your 1040 this can be found at. And like I said, if you have any questions, this little question box right here will answer all your questions. So just look, if you have that 1040, you can look at line 8B. It's clear as daylight what it is. We're just going to put 50,000. And it's going to ask, it's going to break, if your parents are married, it's going to break it up. So what did parent 1 earn? What did parent 2 earn? And you indicated which one is parent 1 and parent 2 earlier. So we're just going to divide it up like that. And then, of course, you just follow the trail on your 1040 return. It says what the amount of your parents' tax income for 2019. This is just line 14 on your 1040 minus Schedule 2, line 2. So if you have a Schedule 2, it'll be right on there. If not, it'll be on line 14. You can put whatever it is. We're just going to say it's $1,000. But it's super straightforward. You just look at the line, see what it tells you to do, and you plug in the numbers. Most of these are going to be zeros. This is asking if the parent had any combat pay, scholarship award aid, untaxed IRA distributions. If you have any questions about any of these, you can just click this question mark and it will answer it. If you think some of these might be applicable to you, for the most part, these won't be applicable to the parents. And it's going to ask if the parents paid any child support. And then these co-ops, federal work study, anything like that. Again, if you have question marks, if you have questions, just click the question mark. And this is for a year. So if you're paying child support, please divide your monthly payment into divide it by 12 in order to make a year, because these are all year figures. All right, and this is going to ask child support received. If your parent is receiving child support, you can put the annual amount right here. Housing, food, paid to members of the clergy or military, payments to tax-deferred pension retirement savings program, VA benefits, workers' comp, disability that's untaxed, that you need to report. All that's right here. Again, if you have questions, you can email me and ask, or you can just click this question mark, and it'll give you more information about what they're asking for. For the most part, these will be zero. Most of the time, for most families, they don't really have many of those. And it's going to ask, every amount's going to be different. It's going to say, as of today, does the total amount of your parents' current assets exceed $5,700? This is excluding house, cars, all the normal things. Those aren't considered assets. You can click this and see what's considered assets. All those are right here. So if the assets are more than this number right here, you put yes. If not, you'll put no. All right, so that's all there is about parent financials. Then it goes to student. So look up here and pay attention. Make sure it says student or parent. It'll indicate right up here. So we're back at student financials. So student, if you filed taxes in 2019, you can go ahead and click completed here. If you didn't work and didn't file taxes, you're just going to click not going to file, whichever one is applicable to you. And if you did file taxes, you can do an IRS data retrieval tool just like your parents did. It's super simple, or you can get your 1040 and follow along all the steps. If you worked in 2019, put your wages right here. You can find that on your W-2. If not, you can just put 0 and keep on trucking. Same questions that your parents got. Child support paid. Most of the time, those are all going to be zeros. For the student, most of the time, these are all zeros. Child support received for children, workers' comp. Most students, this isn't applicable to them, so they just click next. And it's going to ask student, as of today, what is your current balance of cash, savings, and checking? If it's 0, that's 0. Just you can kind of guesstimate. It doesn't have to be an exact number. If it's $100, it's $100. Just put whatever you think is appropriate. Now, worth of investments. Business investment farms. For most students, this will be 0. Again, if you have questions, just click that question mark. And it's going to ask you if you're a preparer. That's going to be a no. You can click next. And it's going to give you a Fafsa summary page. Just skim through this. Make sure everything's spelled correctly. Your socials are correctly. Addresses correctly. Make sure everything on here is correct. And it's a very long page, so just do a good skim through. And it'll tell you everything that you've already filled out by the Fafsa. And you get to the very bottom, you click next. And then here, you provide both student and parent signatures. And to provide signatures, you agree to the terms. And you just sign in with your FSA ID username and password that you created. And you're going to click sign this Fafsa. And then once you do those, you just click electronic signature. And then right here, it's going to say submit. You click submit and your FAFSA is done. And typically your FAFSA crashes as soon as you hit submit, but that's totally fine. It'll be submitted. You're going to get an email with a confirmation page of submission. And then once you do that, you're done with FAFSA.